Uganda paying huge price for teenage pregnancy. It's rampant, and so the increase here in Uganda, and the government is paying a very huge price for it. And in the New Vision today, there are over 250 jobs and tender offers. There are opportunities at Kenyatta University Hospital, Bella Zuri, Total Energies, US Mission, and UCDA. Get yourself a copy and see if you could get a job opportunity in the different places in the country. And also details emerge on South Sudan trafficked babies. They bring you the details inside the New Vision today. And in the Daily Monitor, court sets new rule on loan interest pay. The High Court has ruled that it is illegal for unlicensed money lenders to charge interest on a loan, setting the stage for a bruising battle between liquid lenders who enter loose agreements with borrowers. Get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor and get the details. And also about the Ebola outbreak, Ebola-related deaths shoot to 21 according to the Health Minister, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, as she led a prayer with the health team at Mubende Hospital shortly after inspecting the Ebola isolation facilities. On Saturday, the number of confirmed and suspected Ebola infections has increased to 34, while deaths stand at 21. Please be cautious. Continue observing the SOPs. These are Ebola SOPs. These include do not shake hands, do not eat raw meat, do not stand next to a person, maintain social distancing, almost similar to the COVID-19 SOPs. Wash your hands regularly as it kills the Ebola virus. You do not know who is carrying it, therefore you need to be on your guard. And moving on, Gulu City School eyes 960 million shillings in global competition. Entebbe Rotary President has been declared dead. The Rotary Club of Entebbe is mourning its newly elected President Helen Natu, who was pronounced dead yesterday morning in a Nairobi hospital. Facebook given ultimatum on tax. It's also in today's Daily Monitor. More examiners to mark this year's primary leaving examinations. And also government has banned steel timber construction method. There are many people these days that are looking at constructing their houses with a timber and with the steel timber method. The government has banned that. Get the details of the story in today's Daily Monitor. Well, because of time, that is where we will end with our local news update. We'll now go straight into today's international news update. At least 11 people have been killed by cattle rustlers during an ambush in northern Kenya, according to police. 8 officers, 2 civilians and a local chief are said to be among the victims of the violence in Turkana County on Saturday. Members of the National Police Service were pursuing bandits who had earlier raided a village and stolen livestock. Clashes over livestock and water are common in the area, which is also facing a worsening climate. The area has been one of the hardest hit, one of the harshest droughts East Africa has seen in 4 decades. A 4th season of failed rains has resulted into a large numbers of livestock dying and crops failing to grow. People are desperate for food and water, and the UN's World Food Programme said up to 20 million people in East Africa are at risk of severe hunger. Moving on, power lines have been downed and houses washed into the sea after Storm Fiona battered Canada's coastline. At least 1 person died after being washed out to sea in Newfoundland, according to officials. Fiona was downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm on Friday. Such weather events are rare in Canada, and police said the storm was like nothing they've ever seen. The army has been deployed to Nova Scotia to assist the cleanup. Parts of the 5 provinces experienced torrential rain and winds of up to 160 kilometers per hour, with widespread flooding and hundreds of thousands of people left without power. Prime Minister Trudeau says the military will be deployed in Nova Scotia, adding that if there is anything the federal government could do to help, they would be there. Moving on to the Philippines, 5 rescue workers have been killed in a typhoon that has left homes flooded and millions without electricity. They were washed away in flash floods while carrying out operations in the district of San Miguel, north of the capital Manila. The district was among those hit hard by the typhoon Noro, with some residents seen stranded on their roofs while others waded through the chest-high garbage strewn waters attempting to pass on supplies. The typhoon caused gusts of up to 240 kilometers per hour on Luzon, where more than half of the country's 110 million population lived. And protesters have clashed with police officers during a demonstration outside the Iranian embassy in London. The Met Police said members of the crowd threw missiles at officers and breached police lines in Princess Gate Night Bridge on Sunday afternoon. It comes as protests in Iran spread across the world, sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini in custody after being detained by Iranian morality police. Several officers were said to have been injured, but none were seriously hurt. 5 people were arrested. Police said they were detained on suspicion of violent disorder offenses. Moving on, a far-right leader, Giorgia Meloni, has claimed victory in Italy's election and is on course to become the country's first female prime minister. Ms. Meloni is widely expected from Italy's most right-wing government since World War II. That will alarm much of Europe, as Italy is the European Union's third biggest economy. However, speaking after the vote, Ms. Meloni said her Brothers of Italy party would govern for everyone and would not betray people's trust. Italians have sent a clear message in favor of a right-wing government led by Brothers of Italy, holding up a sign saying "Thank you, Italy." She is predicted to win up to 26% of the vote based on provisional results ahead of her closest rival Enrico Letta from the centre-left. And the pound has fallen to a record low against the dollar as markets react to the UK's biggest tax cuts in 50 years. In early Asia trade, sterling slipped just below $1 before regaining some ground to stand on Monday morning. Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng has promised more tax cuts on top of a £45 billion package he announced on Friday amid expectations borrowing will surge. The pound has also been under pressure due to strength of the dollar. The euro also touched a fresh 20-year low against the dollar in the morning Asia trade amid investor concerns about the risk of recession as winter approaches, with no sign to an end to the energy crisis on the war in Ukraine. And finally, Russian soldiers who surrender to Ukraine will be treated in a civilized manner, according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. In his nightly address, Mr. Zelensky appealed to Russians to run away or surrender at once at the front. It comes after Vladimir Putin signed a law doubling the punishment for Russian soldiers who desert or disobey orders. Fresh protests have also broken out over Russia's partial mobilization of 300,000 troops. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. I remind you of the Karamoja cry. We are sending relief to the people of Karamoja. Yesterday, we were able to flag off the first package of relief aid, the package that involved sending of trucks and planters and seedlings and all that was needed for the people of Karamoja to get back on their feet. We'll be bringing you updates as we continue in our broadcasts here on Channel 44. Please continue sending your seed to the Miracle Center Cathedral. The lines that will be shown will be displayed in the different services, or you can bring your seed here at the Miracle Center Cathedral during the services. We'll be having services every evening. Come and join us as Pastor Robert Kayanja leads us in prayers. God bless you. Enjoy your morning. I remain Masiga Shegu Sebatia together with Livingstone Kawesi. God bless you. Good morning.